and I guess AMD doesn't want the user to get confused. They don't want public to get confused as to what the power delivery system is.
It's got USB 3.1 Gen 2 support.
Yeah, there's a Type A connector, or no, not Type A. What is that? Type B?
That's a B.
B.
Yeah,
There's a Type B connector on the front there. That's actually so that the engineers at AMD can monitor all the different signals and like the electrical signals and the power specifications without any overhead. This is how they actually determine what the performance per watt is of the card, is by being able to connect to that and monitor all the vitals with relatively little overhead. And the other thing that I wanted to point out here is that there are no traces on the PCB. The article points out that there are no traces on the PCB that would signify any kind of GDDR5 memory. So, again, confirming that this is probably going to be rocking HBM2 with the final retail version, which is kind of what we anticipated. Exactly. It's kind of what we already expected, but it is kind of just nice to see it here being pointed out. Also, I should say all this information, or I say, what is it? No. Let me rewind.
You're saying words.
I'm saying words.
Keep saying words.
It gets bad when I start saying numbers. Like, and the 38965 Bach. So, also, AMD is wanting add-in board partners to create mini ITX versions of this card. They want to see some shorter PCBs with a retail version, which the article points out could be an indication that we might not be seeing any kind of Nano-esque version of Vega 10.
The Nano-S?
At least...
Like the defined Nano-S?
No, not the defined Nano-S. Like the Nano card, the Fury line, the Fiji Nano. The good old Nano. Right?
Good old Nano.
We might not be seeing a Nano card strictly from in-house AMD. If we are going to be seeing a miniature version of Vega 10, it's going to have to be dependent on those add-in board partners, because clearly AMD is trying to get them to make something like that. I'm trying to smash, all right? They all care about the smash. Sex. It's like,
all right.
It's funny because it's sex. And then, last but not least, just a quick little article, rumor speculation, all that sort of thing, about the GTX 1080 Ti being announced potentially at PAX East in Boston, which is March 10th through the 12th of this year in 2017. This was reported by Tech Buyers Guru, and they had a full interview with an unnamed employee of an add-in board partner. It was an NVIDIA board partner, which shall go unnamed, of course, for obvious reasons. But this board partner in the interview told Tech Buyers Guru that there's a good chance that this card's going to be revealed at PAX East in March, and also that it will be offered by virtually every add-in board partner on day one launch. Which means you're not going to just be able to buy the Founders Edition when the GTX 1080 Ti finally launches. You'll be able to buy potentially an EVGA version that's got a custom ACX cooler on it or something, or a Gigabyte MSI gaming version of the card, which is always very exciting for
Gigabyte MSI gaming.
The Gigabyte MSI gaming.
Gigabyte's new MSI gaming series.
We've all had one. We've all had one. Super excited for that revision.
Do that.
Yeah. Let's do a mashup.
The new Asus ASRock series.
1080 Ti remix. Yeah, so that should be fun. Now, NVIDIA is waiting to drop the 1080 Ti until, obviously they're trying to wait until the right strategic moment. It's just it's like a game of chess between NVIDIA and AMD when it comes to release dates, because AMD has Vega on the rise, but that's probably not going to come till June timeframe. And there's really no point in NVIDIA launching the 1080 Ti right now because Vega is still so far off. And if they were to do that, it would kind of overshadow the GTX 1080 and kind of put it out of the limelight. We have Mr. Mime Paul to demonstrate. So it makes sense that they're kind of drawing it out to get closer to the Vega launch before they drop the ball on us enthusiasts. They know how it works. They know how it goes. But that's pretty much all I have to say on my half of the show for as far as tech news and shenanigans and things like that. So we're going to do a quick Johnson shout out for anyone who happens to pick up something from either of our stores. I'm going to go down the line really quick. We've got one from Ryan. Thank you very much for picking up a CPU cooler shirt. Johnson to you, brother. We've also got Aaron. Aaron Johnson to you for picking up another CPU cooler shirt. Oh, you bought a hoodie. Thank you for picking up a hoodie. Yes,
nice.
$10 off. You saved so much money right there. Also, Ryan picking up a Stay Positive shirt and a Bit with Words in a Circle pint glass. Those are fantastic. I still don't have one, but hopefully soon. And then we've also got... That's it. That's all for me.
I have no Johnson.
No Johnsons. Oh. Sad panda. That's okay.
It's alright, we still have my half of the show.
Yes, we have your half of the show. Guys, buy something from Paul's store, damn it. But stay tuned. If you're on Twitch, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We probably won't even cut streaming. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and head over to Paul's channel, youtube.com/Paul's Hardware, and we will continue this shit show of a tech live show. And yeah, we love you. Nipples are hard. Nipples are hard for the win. And we're bear. Alright, and we're bear. I like the video.
That's never.
But because the thumbs up is such a universal, it means so much more than just like the video. I should be thinking in that kind of like entrepreneurial spirit. Like, yes, like the video, get all the engagement. Instead, I'm just like, thumbs up.
Good. More beer.
More beer. Good job, guy. You did a good job. I took your jabs. All right, guys. BRB. See ya.
I guess.
All right, really quick, guys. We're back on YouTube. I totally.
Oh my
massive
god,
and delicious.
Yeah, couldn't quite finish it.
So good.
That was
So good.
There were a few things that defined this year's CES from the perspective of PC gamers. Like in hot types, RGB was absolutely everywhere with peripherals, cooling, power supplies, cases, motherboards, and everything between going the multicolored approach. The other defining technology was HDR, or high dynamic range monitors, and unlike the RGB craze, this will certainly change things in a big way. While the amount of content right now is limited at best, HDR is the future of monitors, and most people agree that it has an even greater impact on image quality than the added detail afforded by 4K resolution. As a result, it is not surprising that hot on heels of AMD's announcement of FreeSync 2. NVIDIA introduced their latest and greatest gaming-oriented monitor technology, G-Sync HDR. Let's see what it has to offer after a message from our sponsors.
This show coverage is possible thanks to NVIDIA, Gigabyte, Fantex, and NCIX.
As a quick recap from some of our previous videos, HDR, or high dynamic range, allows for a greater amount of luminosity within images, which brings them closer to visual perfection for the human eye than previously possible. This can lead to anything from increased shadow depth to more realistic vibrancy to better black levels and increased detail. Actually, the possibility with HDR are literally endless, and more importantly, since HDR10 is now considered a standard, supporting monitors will be completely plug-and-play without any setup necessary to attain optimal image quality. With that in mind, at CES 2017, NVIDIA unveiled the world's first HDR gaming monitors. As of right now, G-Sync HDR is not just some guidelines like AMD's FreeSync 2. It is an actual product. Working in coordination with AU Optronics, NVIDIA has actually developed a G-Sync panel that fully supports HDR10. This 27-inch panel not only has a 4K resolution, but it also runs at an ultra-fast 144Hz refresh rate, and it requires a single DisplayPort 1.4 input. Now, if that wasn't amazing enough, this panel also has a peak brightness of 1000 nits, full array backlit with 384 individually controllable LED zones, almost zero input latency, quantum dot technology, and a wide color gamut for colors close to DCI cinema standard. So basically, you can have your cake and eat it too. The first two monitors to feature this ultra high-end 27-inch panel will be the Acer Predator XB272 and Asus ROG Swift PG27UQ. They will feature both HDMI 2.0 and DisplayPort 1.4 inputs, the latter of which is an absolute necessity to handle the 31.4 gigabits per second bandwidth that this panel will require. We actually went hands-on with both of these, but since they both function identically, I will focus on the Asus Swift PG27Q. One thing is evident right away, and that's the new base, which will be used in many of the new ROG products. It uses 3 thin legs to support a raised center column, and within that is an LED which projects downwards onto your work surface. Now, even though the stand makes this monitor look light, the actual panel is ultra thick. Part of this is due to the depth required by the full array backlit with its individually zones, but there's also some thickness required for the active cooling of NVIDIA's GC module. ASUS told us that the final retail units may do away with this active cooler, but that's something they're testing right now. So, how does a 4K HDR running G-Sync actually look? Absolutely stunning in person. The side-by-side test systems were running the Unreal Engine Infiltrator demo, and the differences between HDR and SDR was completely evident, even if you can't really see the differences in this video. Shadow depth, color reproduction, and highlights were noticeably better on the HDR monitor, and I was actually able to see a lot more detail on it. G-Sync HDR will be launching later this year, and unfortunately, neither ASUS nor Acer would tell us the price of these displays, but don't expect them to be anywhere close to budget-friendly. 4K G-Sync HDR will also need a ton of GPU horsepower, since the systems we saw were running dual Pascal Titan X cards, and the Infiltrator demo dipped below 30 frames per second many times. So what do you guys think of G-Sync HDR? Is this something that will interest you, or do you think it'll be way too expensive? Let us know in the comments down below, and stay tuned for more content from CES 2017. I'm Eber with Hurricane X. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. What's up guys, Eber here with Hurricane X, and coverage from Acer at CES 2017 was mostly focused on their absolutely insane $9,000 Extreme notebook, but we went to them in search of something else, something much more affordable for real-world applications. This is the upcoming VX15 notebook, and like the Dell Inspiron 7000 gaming we already looked at, it is a notebook with gaming DNA, yet it can also function as a very portable school or home office laptop. But before we get into this, a quick shout out from our sponsors.
This show coverage is possible thanks to NVIDIA, Gigabyte, Fantex, and NCIX.
The similarities between the VX15 and Inspiron Gaming are quite evident not only within each of their chassis, but also what lies under the hood. As a matter of fact, both have been made possible due to NVIDIA's introduction of their highly versatile GTX 1050 and GTX 1050 Ti into the mobile space. Acer was extremely straightforward with their thoughts about these new GPUs. Not only do they provide awesome performance relative to their cost, but that performance is delivered with extremely high efficiency. Hence, notebook manufacturers are able to maximize other components without going over budget or over the TDP spec. Like Dell's offering, the 15-inch VX15 from Acer will start at $800, and its baseline configuration is very much similar to its competitor, but there are some differences. Expected to come with a Kaby Lake i5 7300HQ processor and an IPS screen rather than a TN panel on the Inspiron. In addition, Acer has added a very welcome USB 3.1 Type-C Gen 3 port, which is something else that Dell's competitors lacks, even though this one runs at Gen 1 speeds, so be mindful of that. The other specifications are quite similar too. There's 16GB of DDR4 2400MHz memory, a 128GB SSD as a primary OS drive, and a 1TB hard drive for storage. A GTX 1050 4GB will come standard, and the GTX 1050 Ti will of course be available for about $100 premium if you want that extra bit of performance. Ticking all of the option boxes will run this notebook's price to about $1,100, which is actually still very affordable given its capabilities. What really surprised me was how great Acer's chassis looks and feels. The predominantly black color scheme and soft touch interior not only gives a higher end look to the VX15, but it also rejects fingerprints quite well. The red backlit keyboard isn't something that will ever replace a fully mechanical variant, but typing on it seems to be more responsive than the Inspiron. I'm also giving kudos to Acer for adding highlighted WASD keys, and that's a nice touch. Even though it's technically 1.1 inches thick, its gently sloping lines and well-designed integrated hinge makes the VX15 feel quite a bit thinner than it really is. In addition, I noticed that it was subjectively quite a bit lighter than the Dell, so portability should be a lot better. Unfortunately, there's no 14-inch version planned for the time being, but it is actively being looked into. We're all really excited to get our hands on this one. Now, onto the big robot. Yeah, I know, this is it, but no Acer coverage from CES 2017 would be complete without a quick look at the Predator 21X. It is completely over the top, it costs a small fortune of $9,000, and it looks ridiculous, but you have to respect Acer for going on out a limb and creating something like this. The intent was only to make a few hundred, but given the positive response they received from their retail partners at the show, Acer may actually decide to increase production. You see, a lot of retailers see this as a perfect marketing opportunity within their stores, and I have to agree with their assessment. Just look at it. Within the massive chassis lies an overclocked i7-7820HQ processor, 64GB of DDR4 2666 MHz memory, two 512GB NVMe PCI SSDs, two GTX 1080 cards in SLI,
Hey, what's up guys? Joker here. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about GTX 1080 Ti, which we are expecting to probably see sometime around CES in 2017, and the same exact thing could be said for AMD's Vega architecture. If you remember, just like last week there was a leak surrounding AMD's Vega graphics card, which they had shown off running on things like Star Wars Battlefront as well as Doom in 4K using the Vulkan API. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that today and talk about where these cards might kind of fall into play with people that are looking to upgrade and buy an enthusiast level GPU, whether it be from NVIDIA or AMD. Now chances are some of you may have already made up your mind is, I'm just Team Green or I'm just Team Red, one way or the other. But there are some people that just actually want to get whatever the best graphics card is and kind of put fanboyisms aside. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at some things here today. We actually got a leak courtesy of LinkedIn, actually. This is over on hothardware.com. A couple other websites are covering it too, but we're sourcing this from Hot Hardware. There was actually a LinkedIn post from NVIDIA which talked about a current upcoming job listing which pointed to the GTX 1080 Ti coming out at CES. The listing specifically says that one of them is ensuring that the GeForce GTX 1080 graphics card owners get first spot in line for 1080 Ti pre-orders or step-up offer. There's no mention of a launch date yet, but we are expecting NVIDIA to make the announcement fairly soon. And with the talking about that with the 980 Ti owners, that's also an interesting thing to bring up as well as part of the discussion, because I don't think I've really seen that before, where NVIDIA would put previous gen graphics card owners ahead of other people to get in line with pre-orders. And if that's only going to be NVIDIA specific cards, like if you ordered it directly from the NVIDIA site, or if you bought on Amazon from like an EVGA model of 980 Ti or any of the aftermarket 980 Ti's, do you get first spot in line as well with NVIDIA to get a graphics card? Those are the questions kind of playing around in my mind, because I do have one of my GTX 980 Ti's still kicking around here. It's in my brother's PC right now. I originally had two running an SLI, and I've got one left around, so